as the word minimalism has infused with different meanings and is so commonly used to a point where it means nothing. How ironic. Whether is it used to describe a lifestyle, a type of design movement, a philosophy, or a marketing word that makes us buy more in order to look more like a minimalist. What happened here is the word minimalism has given birth to many different types of minimalists and also different sub-movements. Some movement might already existed, but we gave a new trendy name by adding the word minimalism at the back. And recently, I came across this video, 6 Kinds of Minimalists by Gabe Bolt. He has an interesting channel where he shares about frugal living, and for this particular video, he talks about different kinds of minimalists, and that inspired me to make one of these lists too. Some of them are similar to Gabe's list, but I've added a few categories that resonates with me. I'm never really someone who loves label. However, I find it interesting where you can use this categorization to shape us into a better self by finding suitable attributes where it can fit into our lifestyle. And I'll be using some minimalist creators as an example. It will be easier for us to relate to. For the first type, it's aesthetic minimalist. Speaking of minimalism, aesthetic might be the first thing that pops into most of our heads. Modern, monochromatic, Scandinavian interior. I mean, no surprise because the word minimalism originated as an extreme form of an abstract art movement. And that's the reason why minimalism can never be separated from aesthetics. This art movement slowly morphs into a style that people follow, a trend that is popular among social media platforms. What an aesthetic minimalist tries to achieve is a clean and fresh look, especially when it comes to living space, design, photography, fashion. Any platform or medium that can express this movement creatively. To this type of minimalist, minimalism is a style that satisfies their eyes. One good example of aesthetic minimalist will be Jenny Mustard, where less is more stylish. The negative space in between things and objects are something to be admired. Personally, it's one of the reasons why I love minimalist aesthetics. However, I see it as the byproduct of a bigger purpose of owning less. And that is found in the next type of minimalist, the Essential Minimalist. A good example of this type will be Ryan and Joshua from the Minimalists. The word intentional is the foundation of an essentialist, and you probably hear me saying this word in a lot of my videos, and probably I should cut it down. And the reason for them to own less is because there's no need for them to have more. Whatever things they own have their functions and purpose. Everything is intentionally added and curated in their life. And multi-use items can be their favorite. For example, having Kindle instead of having a bookshelf full of books. But of course, in a case where they prefer ebook. Having a capsule wardrobe that can mix and match with different outfits, and that can cut down on the amount of clothes in their collection. And the quote, less but better, can be a good mantra used by the Essential Minimalist, because in order to have fewer things, they focus on owning quality things that generally last longer. However, human changes over time. What's essential for us today might not be something that adds value to us tomorrow. They are not emotionally attached to things, rather, they see them as tools that serve their purpose. So, they are constantly being mindful about their material possessions. Once they don't add value to them, they can be removed, and also, that can add a lot of value to others. Next is Financial Minimalist. Some might call them thrifty or frugal minimalist, but I think a better way to name them would be Financial Minimalist. What a financial minimalist strives to achieve is financial freedom. In fact, that's what got me into minimalism. It's because of the financial situation I'm in. I realized that I can cut corners on redundant expenses, and that means I can spend less and have no obligation to stay at a job I hate. One of the main attributes of a financial minimalist is they have the awareness that someone's wealth is not determined by how many expensive luxuries the individual owns. This realization allows them to cut down on unnecessary expenses, like buying expensive clothes just for the logo, purchasing a new car just to be better than your neighbors. Instead of spending money on superfluous objects, financial minimalists tend to focus on living within their means. At the same time, building wealth using money to do the work, so they can spend their most precious resources, which is time, on what they truly care about. Frequently, they are strongly resonated with the FIRE movement. And one good example of a financial minimalist is Graham Stephan, where minimalism to them is less spendings, more freedom. And during the process of being a financial minimalist, cutting down on expenses, opting for public transports than owning a car, or repair existing possessions instead of spending money on buying a new piece. These actions help us to be frugal. At the same time, it complements the next type of minimalist, the Eco-Minimalist. While the financial minimalists cut down on waste to save more money, similarly, Eco-Minimalists cut down on waste, but with protecting the earth in mind, treading lightly on the planet. They might not want to own a car because they want to contribute lesser carbon footprint. They repair and repurpose their possessions because they don't want to add another waste to the planet. They shop mindfully and make sure the products they use will not cause further harm to the earth. That's why they don't bring in unnecessary things into their life. A good example of Eco-Minimalist will be Christine from Simply by Christine. She provides a lot of zero waste tips and alternatives. To this type of minimalist, they see minimalism as a pro-environment, anti-consumption mindset. And by having less consumption, we can reduce the harmful impact on our planet. Next is Experiential Minimalist. You can call them nomads or backpackers. They are minimalists because owning less stuff, they have the freedom to travel around the world, move about as they please, without tying down to financial loads. They don't have much physical possessions that will hinder their process of experiencing the world. One good example of experiential minimalist will be Craig Adams. They have less things in order to have more experience. Instead of embracing materialism and celebrate their life with things and trophies, experiential minimalists seek for experiences, obviously, and creating memories are more important than owning things. I think it's one of the most practical ways to travel around the world without any burdens and things that can pull us back. Especially during travel, I just want to be present at the moment, the place, and the culture. Lastly, it's the Mindful Minimalist. It might sound slightly spiritual, but it depends on how we see it. I'll say, Mindful Minimalists focus on how having less and not wanting to have more give them a peace of mind. Removing mental clutter by decluttering the stress, distraction, and guilt that we bear from owning too much. This type of minimalist choose to live with less because it provides a clean canvas, a sanctuary that allows them to focus on more important things in life and self-love. One good example will be Yoon from Heal Your Living. In fact, she has almost all of the attributes of the minimalist I've listed down. But back to this Mindful Minimalist. This type of minimalist live with less clutter and more headspace, being present at the moment with your thoughts, feelings, and emotion. So these are the 6 types of minimalists that are commonly spoken in our current society. And of course, there are other names and labels like Digital Minimalist, Extreme Minimalist, maybe you can do another episode about that. The purpose of this video is not to discuss which kind of minimalist is the best minimalist, but we should focus on which kind of lifestyle we can apply it into our lives to make us the best version of ourselves. Because if you realize this, all of the different minimalists are just representation of our values, and once we can identify them, we can actually work towards what we want to achieve. So, what kind of minimalist resonates with you the most? For me, I started off minimalism for the sole purpose of being frugal, and other values like aesthetics, eco-friendly, and being intentional are the byproducts that came into my life afterwards. Lastly, I'll end this by saying the reason we started this minimalism journey might not be the only reason that pushes us forward. That's all I have, and if you'd like to show your support, you can check out my Instagram or stay a bit longer and check out my other videos on this channel. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all my Patreon supporters who make this happen. And for you who are watching this, I truly appreciate the time and attention you spend on this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.